Hey everyone, first of all, I want to say thank you for all the support that I've been getting, especially recently, and after my ex's trial. It means a lot. It still hasn't been very easy lately, but I'm slowly getting through this and figuring things out, how to move forward. I'm going to continue with my story. I know I kind of jumped ahead with the trial, but I needed to get that off my chest. And this brings us to, let me see, July 8th of 2020, when my mom went to drop the kids off again at the restaurant that they were doing exchanges at. She had noticed again that Kyle was sitting in his truck, wasn't moving after she dropped the kids off, looking at his phone, giving no attention to the kids at all. And it was really starting to make us question things as to what was going on and why he was acting so weird. July 16th, right after he had unloaded the kids, he jumped into his truck and sped off, heading back towards the route that he came from, which was really weird because it was the complete opposite direction of how he was supposed to head to work. Kyle had whispered something to our son, but aside from that, he said nothing to the kids. He didn't say goodbye, not love you, no nothing. So there's a lot of red flags that were going on at this point, and both my mom and I were starting to really question what was going on, why was this happening, why is he acting so weird. On July 20th, right after he handed the kids off to my mom, he jumped into his truck and sped off back the opposite direction from work. Our son had mentioned something about mean, and we kind of thought it meant he was saying mean. Someone mean was at Daddy's, and it just didn't make any sense. But he said how they hung out with her all weekend, and they dropped her off at her house just before Daddy dropped them off with Baba. That's when our suspicions started to go towards that, okay, so he's bringing his mistress around our children basically just after our separation. So what are you doing? Why are you putting your needs ahead of our children's? Our children are at this time 4 and just over 1, and our 4-year-old was really having a hard time understanding why mommy and daddy weren't living together, and all of a sudden there's this other woman in the picture now with daddy. So again, that just shows how selfish he is. So the red flags were correct. We were correct on what he was doing. Due to the suspicions that she basically moved into our marital home just after I moved out, and that his mistress was carpooling with him, my mom decided that after she dropped the kids off with Kyle, instead of leaving that parking lot and heading home, she was going to sit in her vehicle and just watch. So about 10 minutes after, Kyle was pissed because he peeled out of that parking lot and he drove to the road, and my mom literally saw mistress run from behind the private building on private property through the ditch, around the truck, and jumped into the truck, and he sped off with both my children in the vehicle. Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around the concept of who in their right mind would do that thing. And what kind of woman would be okay with hiding at exchanges and then to be forced to hide behind a building and to run through a ditch? Red flags. You can be with him, I don't care. Which brings us to July 23rd of 2020. So after that whole craziness the day before, I received my very first phone call from CFS. CFS is Child and Family Services. They claimed that someone put a claim in about me with concerns of neglect for my children. The children that Kyle was never home around to help me care for. The children that he really didn't care to see, and left them fully in my care while I was on mat leave. Yeah, apparently I neglected my children. I don't know what he's talking about. And they asked if they could come over the next morning for a discussion, which I told them that was no problem. I had nothing to hide. I don't neglect my children, and I live with my parents, who my mom works out of the house, and my dad sometimes is at home, sometimes up north, but still he's around quite a bit too. She had told me that she had already sat down with Kyle and our son yesterday and spoke with them. I had the kids. My daughter napped. She was exhausted. Both kids were exhausted. They were both in bed by 6:30. So that was fun. So the following day, CFS came by with another lady. So there's two ladies that came. I guess one was being trained, I think. We came to the basement to play with the kids. I spoke with the one lady that I was dealing with. I'm avoiding saying names. I don't want to say anything that, yeah. We discussed a lot of things, including my suspicions that it was Kyle. Who else would be reporting me for neglect? Who had made the accusations against me, as his lawyer just asked if I was capable of taking care of the kids since I'm currently off work, and the fact that him and I are the ones who have the kids. We're the only ones that actually have the kids. So who else would be calling neglect? My parents sure as hell wouldn't be. Who else would be claiming that I'm neglecting our children when the kids are just with me and Kyle? And yeah, his lawyer literally just asked my lawyer at this point if I was capable of caring for my kids, just because I wasn't capable of working at the time. Apparently those are the same thing for some reason. We had discussed the protection order that I did have against him, and how I tried to get the kids on it as well because of this abuse that was going on. We discussed my concerns and how I live with my parents, and my mom works at home, so I always have help with when I need it. I also voiced my issues with the mistress being around my kids, but at least there is another adult. I was actually kind of happy. A part of me was happy that the mistress was there, because then at least Kyle has to be on his best behavior, and he can't act the way he acted towards me behind closed doors, because he wants her to see a good guy. He wants to put on the persona that he's a good guy and hide all of his major flaws. So yeah, I was actually happy. A part of me was happy because at least there was another adult in that house, hopefully protecting my children when they weren't with me. The CFS worker told me that she had no concerns whatsoever and that she was closing the case against me. But she did say that I have her cell phone number, and if our son ever says anything of concern, to contact her. And I really appreciated all the help and support that she was giving me. That wasn't going to be the first time that I was going to deal with her. But that's the beginning of the ridiculous chain of events that he had started. There was no contact from him to my parents to voice concerns, nothing. He went to the complete extreme right off the bat. But thanks for listening to me. I hope everyone stays safe. I love all the support that I'm getting from you. Thank you so much. Bye.